Welcome. My name is Danielle, and as always, I'm so glad to see you here. Today, we're going to be doing a yin sequence with a focus and emphasis on our hips. They're an important part of our body. They're supporting our spine, supporting movement, supporting sitting, standing, walking, everything we want to do. We do a lot with our hips, but we don't give them enough attention. So that's what we're going to do today. I've got some pillows, I've got some blocks, pretty much anything in your room that might be comfortable, might be supportive. You can get some blankets, straps, whatever. Just find what things around you are going to help support and facilitate the shapes, get them available, and we will go ahead and get started. So I'm trying to get in and get out and get on with our day. So it's going to get right into it. And we're going to start in butterfly pose. But let me get our bell so we know we are started. And we'll go ahead and get set up. So butterfly pose, lots of options, lots of variations. But basically, we're taking our feet together with that knife edge side touching, feet flopping open. If you want to kind of focus on the inner hip or the outer hip, kind of making awareness of what you want today, you can bring your feet farther out or you can bring your feet farther in. Just kind of play with it, see what feels good. I want to work on my inner hips, so I'm going to bring my feet in, but the farther out they go, the more it works on your outer hip, your IT band. So just a different stretch in the same general shape. But depending on where you are in your bodies today, you might need some support. So you can take your blocks and put them underneath your knees, just kind of braces them and lets them relax into it. You can also, if you have a big pillow, you can put it over your chest. I'm going to take this here smaller pillow and put them out in front of me. And actually, I'm going to walk my feet out just a little bit more. Bring my chest, my pillow underneath to support me. And now leading with the heart, I'm going to start to slowly walk forward and maybe walking my hands down. And then when I can't go any further out, that is when you start to round the spine and drop the head. So if this is too much sensation today, you're welcome to stay seated and just keep focusing on grounding those knees down. But if you kind of want to get more upper body involvement in it, you're welcome to come forward. So we're only in each pose for 4 minutes. We're already almost halfway through. So whatever shape you're taking, let's go ahead and commit and find the shape for the next few moments. So maybe closing your eyes if it feels safe, or maybe just softly gazing at the mat in front of you. Start to bring some awareness to your breath, some awareness to the sensations that are happening right now in your body. So the goal of yin, if you are new to it, we're not trying to work our muscles. Those are for our yang classes, our vinyasa, our flows classes. For yin, we are trying to work our deeper, more inelastic tissues. So the joints, the ligaments, the stuff that doesn't move much. So those, they can move, right? But they need a lot of work, a lot of sustained stress on them before they start to open. So we're trying to put that stress on the joints. So as much as you can we find some softness? Relax our muscles. Just find the space to just be in this pose. We have just under a minute left. So where can we soften and really feel the stretch? Can we soften our legs, our thighs? I always tend to hold in my shoulders, so softening the shoulders, softening the face. Can we maybe grow a little heavy and feel gravity pulling us down, adding a little bit more sustained pressure to those joints that we're trying to work? But we're staying above pain. So if you feel any sharpness, any intense heat might back out. We want a soft, steady pressure. And then we breathe. All right, we're already done. So pulling ourselves back up, We're going to make our way into frog pose. So your choice, yogi's choice. You can do it both legs together or do half and half. I have allotted enough time for both sides. So I'm going to do one leg at a time. But either way, we're going to start to come up onto tabletop, and we're going to bring our chest down and bring our leg out to the side. So for me, I'm going to bring a pillow underneath my chest, and I'm going to bring a block or another pillow under your hips. Sometimes the block might be too hard, just depends on it. But we're going to go ahead and start to lower down. So I'm straightening out my right leg to bring my hips onto the block and lowering my upper body on the pillow. And then looking at my left leg here, we want to work towards 90 degrees in the hip and the knee, and the foot is flexed, but depending on your openness, you might not be there. So I kind of start by bringing your knee down and then working it up as much as you can until you feel that tightness, that sensation. And then checking in with your right leg. If you're going half frog, you're checking in, making sure that leg is straight out. And then when you have that shape in the leg, we start to soften. So bringing that upper body down, growing heavy on the pillow. You can bring your hands on top of each other and rest the forehead. You can also take a block and rest the forehead on a block. Sometimes I find that helpful too. So just feeling it out and then trying to soften in. And then as we warm up to this shape, as your body adjusts to it, you might find that you can go just a little bit deeper. So as you soften, can you wiggle that knee up a little bit higher? Can you readjust your hips? And I think I'm already ready to move that block out underneath my hips today. Like I'm already there. So as we warm up, as we get into it, what shape can we find? And then when you're in that pose, whatever shape you're taking today, then we start to breathe. So softening those muscles, we're trying to transfer the work to our joints. So bringing that awareness to your left leg. Can we soften the thigh, soften the calf? Can we feel our hip joint points growing heavy, making contact with the earth? And then bringing some awareness up the spine. So softening the shoulders, softening the arms. Can you feel your head growing heavy? And just breathing into the tightness wherever you're feeling it today. And as our body warms up to this shape, maybe notice, where are you feeling this sensation today? Is it on the inner thigh, the outer thigh? Is it on your right hip, not your left hip? Just can you find that? And can you observe it? Notice it, get familiar with it, and see how it changes over the 4 minutes of the stretch. All right, that is our signal to move. So if you're in frog, you're staying with it. If you're in half frog, you're gently starting to walk up. So maybe walking that right foot, left foot in a little bit so you can push yourself back up into a tabletop position, and then changing out the legs. So we're bringing your right leg out from your hip, working towards 90, but maybe going a little lower to start, lowering your upper body down, and then reassess. And what you need might be different from side to side. So if you're too tight, you might need the higher position of the blocks. You might need 2 blocks. That's okay. Whatever you are feeling is perfectly okay, as long as we are staying above pain. So we're checking in with our leg. Our left leg is straight behind us. Our right leg is bent. That foot is flexed. And then we're slowly walking it up until we're at 90. And then starting to ground down in that upper body. Maybe we're hugging a pillow. Maybe we're on all the way on the floor. If you are, that's wonderful. And if you're not, that's wonderful too. And then when we have a shape of relative comfort, it's never really fully comfortable. But when you have that shape that you can start to soften in, let's go ahead and do that. So relaxing the muscles, trying to transfer the sensation, the activation into the joints. So really relaxing that right leg, maybe softening that right foot. So you wiggle the toes a moment just to remind yourself how soft they can feel. And then maybe bringing that awareness to the right hip joint. Can you really feel it as it's being pulled down by gravity? And then starting to move that awareness up the spine, just softening in, relaxing the shoulders, the arms, relaxing the face, your forehead, your jaw. And then just starting to notice, what am I feeling on this side? How is it different from the other side, or is it even different? Just notice and observe, and then notice how it's changing over time. So is that right hip growing heavier, sinking in a little deeper? Do we need to make some micro adjustments? Move that right knee up a little bit higher. And if this poses really uncomfortable, can you ask yourself, is it my mind that's fighting it, or is it my body? And if it's your mind, that is the job, to remind yourself that this is the work. Staying present when we're uncomfortable, that is the path of yoga. And the more we do it, the more we practice it, the easier it becomes. All right, there's our signal. Starting to gently lift ourselves back up. So maybe walking that knee down a little bit before we start to push ourselves up into tabletop. Maybe take a moment, do some circles with the hips if you need to, just kind of loosen up the joints. And then eventually starting to make our way back to seated. And we are going to set up for shoelace pose. So I'm going to do right leg on top to start. So first and foremost, we're bringing our heels in as close as we can towards our hips to start. And sorting out our seat, we want to try to keep our knees stacked. And then flexing your feet, we're going to slowly start to walk those feet out. And one day working till they're in line. But when you start to feel that sensation, when you're feeling your hip points kind of pulling away, that's where you stop, that's where you pause. And this is where we breathe. So we're trying to work kind of like the outer hip here, feeling it. So we're kind of sorting our seat out, sitting up tall, really grounding down through our sitting bones so we can stay here. If you would like to incorporate some arms today, we can go for those Gomukhasana arms. So we're going to bring our right hand over, left hand behind, and maybe we're grabbing onto our shoulders or strap. So let me tilt so you can kind of see. So we're trying to maybe grabbing onto our shirt and just pulling. That would be okay. Maybe we can grab fingers and that would be okay. If you have a strap, this would be a great way to have a strap and kind of pulling opposite. Just kind of finding which shape is working for you. And of course, arms are optional. The focus today is on the hips. So if it feels too much, just back out and just stay with the legs. But either we having the bind or not, if you're starting to warm up in this pose and ready to go deeper, lead with the heart, start to hinge forward, and just notice how that stretch, that sensation changes. And so we really want to be feeling some activation, some heat in the right hip, but staying away from any really strong pain. And then trying to find some softness. So your arms are slightly active, but we're not overworking them. We're not pushing ourselves to our limits. We're just gently finding sensation. And maybe if we are looking for a little bit more sensation, kind of imagining cow's breath in the spine, really arching that spine. Maybe your head is pressing into that right arm to really kind of feel that engagement. And maybe that gives you the space to hinge just a little bit further. And then here we're almost at the end of it. So for the last few moments, I'm going to really soften in, release my arms, and kind of fold over my top leg. And this might be too much. You might need to stay up. That's okay. And if you want to fold over, but you just can't quite get there, take that pillow and maybe hug it and round down this way. Maybe tucking the chin a little bit. That's another beautiful option. And also, of course, you got your block there. It's your friend. If you want to try to rest your forehead on your block for these last few moments, whatever shape you're taking, commit to it and then soften. Can we grow heavy but feel supported and really feel the stretch in the area that we're looking for? All right, there is our sign. Okay, so we're going to come back out of it, release any bind, move your props out of the way, and going to swap out the legs. So your right leg is in on the bottom and left leg is on top. So setting up just like we did on the other side, bringing our heels in towards our side to start to really kind of sort out our hips. We want our knees to be tracking on top of each other, flexing our feet, and then starting to wiggle walk them out until we feel the sensation. So you might be at 45, that's okay. You might be able to go almost to 90, and that's okay too. So feel it out and then take a moment to really feel your sits bones grounding down, growing tall through the spine. And this might be where you stay. If you want to go for the bind for a few moments, your right hand is below, left hand on top, maybe grabbing for that strap, maybe grabbing for your shirt, or maybe finding your fingers. In whatever shape we're taking, just finding some activation, some gentle pulling against each other. Your left arm shooting up, right arm shooting down. And then if you want more sensation, finding that cow's breath in the spine. Maybe your head is pressing into your left arm to really activate that back line. And then breathing for a few moments. And then trying to find some softness before we start to gently hinge forward. So you might only go an inch or two and then your hip is screaming, saying that's enough. So then back out just a little bit and breathe. You might be able to go almost the whole way, and that's wonderful too. If you do that, can we really find some support and space in that shape? And after a few moments, when you feel like you're ready to release that bind, you're welcome to it. And then gently starting to walk yourself over further. So again, same options here. Maybe we're taking that pillow, hugging it and hinging and softening in, maybe gently tucking the chin. Maybe we're bringing that pillow out in front of us and bringing the upper body down, hugging it that way. Or maybe we have enough space in our bodies that we can fold over fully. We're taking that block if we want the support of the forehead, and then just melting into the earth. So whatever shape we're taking, can we find softness in that upper body? So softening our shoulders. Sometimes I like to flip my arms so the palms are facing up. That really helps me to remind myself to soften, to receive. Can you feel your forehead really growing heavy, connecting with your block? If you're using the block, I should say. And breathing into your legs, into your hips. Maybe taking a few deep belly breaths here. This is a bit of a constriction in the belly, right? So you can really feel the breath. So those deep belly breaths can help you connect and feel it fully. And then what am I noticing in this moment? Right, gently starting to walk yourself back up. So we have been working on the outer hip. We're going to counter that, working on the inner hip and setting up for our wide-legged forward fold, our shoelace, or pancake stretch, whatever you want to call it. Moving my pillows out of the way. Bringing our legs out in front of us just to set up. And so really feeling it out for a moment or two. We want to feel that sensation in the thighs. A gentle bend in our knees sometimes, especially if it's early in the day, it might be too stimulating at the start. So kind of a gentle bend in the knees if we need it. Flexing our feet. We want to kind of keep the joints active to really work them. And then focusing on kind of rolling our thighs back, our feet back to feel that stretch on the inside. And staying with this, growing tall through the spine. Maybe we stay here and close our eyes and just see how much we can remind ourselves to roll those legs gently a little bit back. Maybe keeping our hands on our thighs kind of helps reinforce that. Or the hands on the inner thighs to pull back. If you want to start going further, I guess I do need a pillow. So I'll take one of these pillows back, put it in front of me, and gently start to hug it and round down. You might not go very far. You might go really far, either option. Just go until you feel that subtle resistance and then breathe. And then breath by breath, see if we can soften in and round in just a little bit more. And as we soften in, I love using the block for my forehead because it really helps me grow heavy and yet still feel supported. And yet I'm not warm enough in my day. So I'm going to take 2 blocks, stacking them on top of each other. And that will definitely, I'm going to rearrange them. Wide base, narrow top. Yeah, and that gives me enough space to really soften it. And if you're staying up straight, that is beautiful too. Right? We are all just looking for sensation, but every body is different. So we all have to find it in different ways. That is okay. Your job is to figure out, what do I need to feel sensation in my body in this moment? And deep breaths. And then breath by breath, we soften in. And then starting to assess, can I go a little bit deeper? Is my leg warming up? Can I wiggle that foot back just a centimeter or two? Can I grow a little heavier? And again, I love to take my hands up, palms facing up, and grow heavy just to remind myself to just be, to just receive. And then noticing, where am I feeling it today? Maybe noticing, has the stretch moved? Has it gone deeper? Maybe move down the leg. Where is your body meeting that resistance? And can you soften into that resistance just a little bit? All right, there's a signal to release. So gently walking that upper body up first, taking those hands underneath your knees, gently starting to bend them, bringing them in, and moving any props out of the way. You might take a moment to just kind of windshield wiper the legs side to side. Just wake up that joint a little bit more. And we're going to make our way into a happy baby on our backs. So starting to come down, turning long on the mats. Maybe a gentle core work to make our way down. Bring your hands in front of us, pinky spiraling in, and using that strong core to lower down. Just a nice challenge some days. Just an option. But here, taking a moment before we get into it, just bring those knees into the chest. Maybe we're grabbing our hands or our forearms. Maybe we're grabbing the elbows, but keeping the legs side by side, not crisscrossed. Can we just take a moment and give them a big bear hug? Maybe do some big belly breaths here as we feel the breath, feel our stomach pressing against the thighs. And just kind of imagining rolling the shoulders down our spine, really pressing that full spine into the floor. Maybe gently tucking the chin. And then you can always stay still and maybe roll side to side. Kind of giving your low back a little massage. So you're welcome to stay with this, just really feeling gravity pressing the full spine into the floor, but maybe a little extra awareness in that low spine, your hips. Staying with this, or starting to bring those legs up in front of you, gentle bend in the knees as you take your hands to the outside of your feet. And so the goal here is kind of imagining bringing our knees into our armpits, or maybe even down to the floor if we're super flexible. So just kind of feeling it out. I kind of like to pull on one leg and pull on the other just to kind of warm up our hips. Rolling side to side. And as we get into it, maybe finding more stillness. But we're trying to keep the joints safe. So we're keeping those feet flexed, keeping those knees bent, and really an active stretch here, not a passive one. And then as you're ready to soften into it, find some stillness. Some days I can find it helpful if you want to put a block underneath your knee to kind of really ground it down. Maybe putting up 2 blocks under the knee. That's kind of too high, but I'm going to take my blocks on either side. And that gives me a space to really ground into. Sometimes that can be helpful to kind of soften in. Sometimes it's too much. And then maybe you want to focus on both legs, maybe one leg. Maybe if you want to kind of start to straighten the legs and then bring them in and just kind of play with it. This is your time, your opportunity to play. And I think in this stretch in particular, there's a lot of options and a lot of variations. And it's nice to see what feels good for one person might not feel good at all for another. So as long as you are on your spine with your knees bent in towards the body, that's all we got to do. Whatever else you want to do is totally up to you. And softening the face, softening our shoulders, maybe finding a moment in stillness at the end. A moment of gratitude for your body and all of the beautiful things that it does for you throughout the day. All right, and then gently start to release. Maybe taking a moment, bringing those knees in, giving them another big bear hug, maybe rolling again side to side, and then setting up for our final little Savasana at the end. So lots of options. If you would like to take kind of a more supported Savasana, you could go with your bridge pose with your feet grounded down, maybe taking the mat's width, maybe having the knees fall open. Sometimes that gives a nice little stretch on the outer thigh for me, and it helps support my low spine. You can go a little bit more if you want to take a block underneath your sacrum to kind of lift it up a bit. You can also straighten the legs. I feel like that is too much for me most days, so I don't like doing that, but I know some people do. So those are options. You could also go back to our butterfly pose, taking those feet in, breaking the knees out, and again, taking those blocks underneath the knees. maybe a high setting, maybe a low setting, or going into our regular Savasana with your legs out straight. That is also always a valid option. So finding your shape and then committing to it and just softening in. So really making sure your shoulder blades are flat on the earth. Maybe your hands are to your side, palms up to receive. You can also place one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart to connect and ground in. And after that, your only job is to relax and soften and just be in this moment. Right, there is our cue. If Savasana is calling to you, you'd like to stay a little longer, you're welcome to it. Otherwise, you can gently start to invite some movements into your hands, into your feet, maybe gently rolling out the ankles, the wrists, moving any blocks out of the way. Maybe gently starting to roll yourself over to your favorite side. Maybe pausing for a moment to let that spine come back into neutral. And then gently starting to press yourself back up into a comfortable seat. So we started this class in a comfortable seat. We'll end this class in a comfortable seat. So just taking a moment in stillness one last time. Maybe your hands are on your knees. Maybe your hands are coming into heart center for just a moment more. Maybe rubbing them together to feel that heat, that friction, that energy that we have been cultivating in ourselves. And then coming to stillness for one moment more. For all of the work that you have done today on your mat, we all benefit off of the mat. So I am truly grateful for you taking the time to do work for yourself. It's not selfish, it is kindness, and you are better for it. So I thank you so much. And until we meet on our mats again, I bow to you and say, Om Shanti, peace, peace within, peace around, and peace to those who need it most. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.